And we are back. Welcome to Good Energy, guys, where we talk sports and tennis. Before we get into the breaking story of Anett Kontaveit eliminated, that's right, Anett Kontaveit eliminated. Let's take a quick look at Karolina Pliskova. She had to play a suspended match due to darkness yesterday, and of course, a lot of delays. The men matches were taking a long time. Serena Williams, her match took over 3 hours. That took a long time, but that's on center court. For the matches not on center court, like Pliskova, where there was darkness was an issue. Jessica Pegula and Donna Vekic, we're going to be covering that shortly. Pliskova had one against Martinsova, and that match was postponed. And Pliskova says, it wasn't really that much of an issue for me because I have a house across the street. And for players like Martinsova, who does not have a house across the street, this is why suspending the matches can be difficult. She has to go back to her hotel, make, travel arrangements, get back to the site, and then play two games. And it favors the veteran players like Karolina Pliskova, who has the resources. And it's tough because Teresa was going to win that second set yesterday. If the match was completed yesterday, I think Teresa would have beat Pliskova. But nonetheless, the match was postponed. Pliskova is through. And look, she plays good at Wimbledon, but I don't think she's going to win it. She looked too shaky against Teresa Martinsova. And pop the champagne, ladies and gentlemen. Anett Kontaveit wins. What had what had happened? What had happened was, listen, guys, I told you Anett Kontaveit was going to lose today. And Jule Niemeier, for you guys that are not familiar with her game, she is a tricky player. She is very versatile. She is the type of player that will go toe to toe with you on the baseline and hit a drop shot you never see coming. Kind of like the match with Harmony Tan and Serena Williams yesterday. That's how Jule plays. You remember Jule at the French Open with against Sloane Stephens? How tricky she played Sloane Stephens, and Sloane Stephens had to make numerous adjustments. Sloane Stephens could beat Jule, and she ended up doing that as a 2-1 underdog. That's right, I gave that pick out. Take Sloane Stephens to beat Jule as a 2-1 underdog because Sloane has the athletic ability. Anett Kontaveit, on the other hand, today a 2-1 favorite. I told you guys to take Jule to beat Anett because Jule is too tricky. Anett Kontaveit going through different coaches. And listen, guys, if you do not watch Anett Kontaveit's matches or her interviews, then refrain from commenting on this post. Anett Kontaveit has said it she has said it herself in her interviews that yes, she knows she has been difficult to work with. She said this to her previous coaches. And the reality here is you can't go through different coaches and enter these slams with a different game plan and strategy and think it's going to be effective. I'm a huge Anett Kontaveit fan, but look, she's got to get it together. This has not been a good year for her, and it happened. Sloane Stephens said it best. When you're on top of the mountain, just be aware for that fall because you can't stay up there forever. And Jule is the type of player where she's in shape, guys. She literally, since the French Open, she's down about 10 pounds. So she is really taking this thing serious. She missed last year's Wimbledon barely. It looked like she was coming through the qualifiers and she missed it barely. And this year she wants action. This is someone that can go far because she has such variety in her game. She is a very tricky player, guys. I know tricky players when I see one. Jule is one, and she's got the skills to pay the bills. Just the variety is just, she's an unconventional player. And tennis players like Anett Kontaveit, she can't come across with her biggest shots, which is her backhand cross court or down the line, which she can do that too. She can't set that tool up. And if you're playing unconventional players that don't allow you to set up your shots, it's going to be a rough day at the office. And that's what we saw with Serena Williams yesterday. Serena was very frustrated yesterday. If she could have just got out of that first round, it would have got a little easier for her because now she's playing tennis players. But Julie is, look, she's an amazing player, and Anett Kontaveit's 37-20 on grass. We've seen her make some grass finals recently, but over the last couple of years, she's only 8-6 on grass. She hasn't been active on grass, and Julie's 7-6 on grass. So, in terms of skills and similarities, look, the grass competition. This was a very competitive match, and I told you guys, Anett Kontaveit is going to be eliminated. Now, I'm a huge Anett Kontaveit fan. What's next for her? I don't like the parting of her coach. I think she could have found ways to make it work here at Wimbledon. No, but I think for the long term, I think you could have had someone temporarily step in. But we've heard her say out of her mouth. We've heard the interviews, and I'm a huge Anett Kontaveit fan. I hope she pulls it together. I think she's got the tools to maybe go far, but I don't see Anett Kontaveit making the WTA finals this year. Once we conclude the U.S. Open, which I'm not picking her to go far at the U.S. Open. She just normally doesn't play well in New York, and I think she'll be bounced from the top 10, and we're going to have an exciting WTA finals, and hopefully Anett Kontaveit can pull it together. However, we do recall last year she went on a tear. When the season switched to hard, she went on a huge tear, but I just don't think that's going to happen this year. Anett Kontaveit is eliminated. That is the breaking story. Look, if tennis were about looks, she'd have 200 Grand Slams. She is very beautiful, but she's gonna have to get it together there. She's gonna have to pull it together. We're rooting for you, Annette. You are a good player when you're establishing court position, when you're being a court bully, right? That's what she does. She establishes court position and then just hits opponents off the court with her backhand. She's tough to beat, but she hasn't been able to mentally focus lately, and we're going to see what happens next. Guys, join me, Jessica Pegula, Donna Vekic. That is going to be fireworks. Stay tuned for that. This is Good Energy, guys, and we're back.